Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus one more time, and I'm here to give you a message of deliverance. You know, when I woke up this morning, I was sure that I was going to talk to you about some of the things that's going on specifically in the world today. The trial that's going on in Minneapolis, Minnesota with the murder of Mr. Chauvin, the representative of power by being a police officer, and the privilege by being white, and what it all means when you got a black person. You got your knee on their neck, meaning that you got control of them. You can either get your knee off them, allow them to live, or you can choke the life out of them. On the one hand, you got the virus on the other, and it's just wreaking havoc everywhere. So I was thinking about maybe talking about some of those things, or talking about the election and the lies that have been perpetrated across the world about what Trump was lying about and how he tried to destroy democracy in America and become a dictator, and how easy it was to get so many people to buy into what he is about. And a little gentleman by the name of Gates, who really been running his mouth, and now he finds himself in a little trouble. And it seems as if some documentation has come out that indicated that all that Trump was a deceiver, a liar. Even Schiff, when he was going through that impeachment proceeding about Trump, and he indicated what Trump was. He indicated what Trump had been doing, what he was still doing, and what he would be doing throughout the rest of his life. And still you found people, well, giving them some support. I said I was thinking about talking about that. Now I find myself here talking about that. But let me just use that as some stuff that I just want to get on your mind to bring you to the focus that I want to bring you to. You see, the suit I have on represents about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I ran for president of the United States of America. And my reason for running for president of the United States of America is because of the profession that I had been given, that I had learned some of the secrets of life, secrets relative to the problems, where they come from, how they spread. But not only that, I learned some secrets of how to get rid of it, prescriptions to eradicate a cancer of social life. And so I was excited about it. I could find nothing better to do than to run for president of the United States, not on a pulpit preaching, not necessarily committed myself to street functions and videos and CDs. I decided that there was no better place to represent what I represented than in the position of the President of the United States. And what did I represent? I came to represent an introduction to God's government. An introduction, ladies and gentlemen, to God's government. With all the people in this nation who goes to church, claim to be saved, burned with fire and Holy Ghost, and got it all together, and so much love in their heart, and the message that I brought, how could God lose? We were his winners. And well, or should I say, we were God's winners. Forgive me for saying he is. I don't know what God is, except I know God is powerful. I know that. And so I championed that. Now, if I got any votes, I'd be surprised. You see, I had to run for something this good and something this great. I couldn't ask for donations. I wouldn't stop people from spreading the news. That was what I hoped. A message so good it would be all over the country in a day or two. All over the country in a day or two. Someone wanted to know, who is this cat that has this beautiful message? Where he come from? What is he talking about? How can he achieve these things? How and why are we supposed to believe him? That's why I was expecting the cameras to come, because these are the questions that you, the people, should be asking. But nobody came. And so I went down utter defeat, had to run as a write-in. Totally defeated as far as getting a blessing to you. So some 20 years later, what you and what the whole country had always held up as being super, that held up your white supremacy in America. You had a man who was white, running for president of the United States. And his eyes might be blue, never been close enough to see. And his hair might be blonde. I don't know. But he said he was rich. He said he was very rich. He said he was a billionaire. And this is what we've always been taught. Be a billionaire. You can do what you want to do. So you got this billionaire. When he campaigned to people, he got this big plane. Now that plane, what does it say? It says power. This is what I have achieved. How many of you guys out there got a plane? And one as big as this? So the people were drawn in. The people were drawn in. The fact that he indicated that he hated people of color, all that just drew all the other people who were not of color in. That included all of the right-wing Republicans, conservative, religion, doesn't make any difference. You don't like people of color? Great. So they all came over by the millions, and he took in. And what did he do? He came in to destroy the nation. And that's when he came down that escalator, that was the beginning that we could see it at this level. Destruction of American democracy. And this is what the people chose over a government of God. Now, when the people got a chance to see who this gentleman really is, they still rather to have this one than what they had normal. Can you believe it? Other people said, no, we can't stand this guy, so let's impeach him. They tried to impeach him. The people in power said, no, we can't let him go. He's the best thing that we ever had. He putting us in power. We're the minority, but we're putting judges in places. We don't have to worry about it. They always execute our will. And not only that, the states are putting people in power, in the positions of power. So when we have the national elections, if we don't like the outcome, we can have the states adjusted the way we want it. You see, that's what you bought into, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you look at it, at the end of the day, 20 years ago to this day, this is how low we have gone. This low. And sure, Biden and the Democrats are doing great things compared to where this nation was going. They are doing wonderful things. Just to give an example, the checks that they got to stimulate their faith in life, to stimulate their belief in America, that they can get it going again. That was great, but it happened with Republicans and Democrats. So you can't give any strokes there beyond the other. But what is still happening is people who are totally out to destroy this nation. There's no question about it. Anybody got a question in the ground, buried, they don't have a question. So what am I here today, since I want to stop talking about the hell that we're living in? I'm going back to the original thing. My advocacy is not for the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It's not for white power or black power. It's the government of God. And what do I mean when I say the government of God? I'm talking about the government of God that accepts the truth. And you've heard me say it 1,000 times. I don't mind saying it one more time. A government that says the earth, the stuff that we walk on, including the rivers and the oceans and the seas and all that stuff that rests upon the earth, including all of the other resources that's instilled in the earth, on the earth or above the earth, and some of it is seen and some of it is not. But all of those resources generated in the beginning of time, so that as long as man could exist upon this earth, he can access those resources and use them as though he was in heaven, or abuse them as though he's in hell. That choice. That's the path we're on right now, headed straight to hell. That's our choice. But I'm back before you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm advocating for the government of God. And when I say I'm advocating for the government of God, I'm not just talking about you as Americans. I'm talking about human beings everywhere. America and its government that decides that they want to reject God, they're not the only ones that have to fear the government of God. It is the whole nation, the whole world, the whole earth where people inhabit, where they have been suckered, abused. Well, in many instances, it's just the way it is. It's not that Trump and his cohorts are so bad. They are. But when you look at the rest of us, we are bad too. And why? It's because of our education. Some people were taught to hate. Some people were taught to be rich at any cost. Some people were taught to just be cool. It's going to work out all right in the end. Some people were taught all kinds of things. And that's what we have here. But now I'm bringing you a different message. I'm bringing you the message of God, that everything belongs to God. And it was designed so that you, the people, even though you got choice, but it was designed so that you could live as though you were an angel. As though nothing but love was raining down upon you every day, just like it does when the sun ain't shining. And the clouds come over and the rain says, I got to get you because you need water. I got to get you because you need a cleansing. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for change. And this is what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about making sure that we recognize that all things belong to God. And all of the needs that we have are coming amongst us for the most part. And the resources to meet every last one of those needs are here. Not just those resources outside, but the resources that are in us that allows us to exercise our gifts and extract from what God has given to put an abundance of all the things that we dream of, so that none would lack anything. This is God's government. God's government is not the Republicans over there saying we're going to stop you from voting. God's government is not Donald Trump over there saying they stole the election. God's government is not the people down there at 6 trying to destroy this democracy, trying to overtake. No, my friends, that's not God's government. God's government is love. There's no one above you, but the power you can't see that is responsible for all things that's good. That's the only one above you. And there's no one below you. Even the devil is not below you when you abide by what the devil wants. The only way the devil can be below you is you tramping on him, telling him to go to hell. That's the only way. So I'm telling you today, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, Trump, Biden, and the Democrats are doing a good little thing. It looks real good. But it's keeping us in that same stream, that current, that same flow that's headed down the path to hell. It was on here, on that same path, when Trump became president. It was on that path. Now it's just hurtling real fast on that path. And what the Democrats are doing is trying to slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. They're not getting off the path. They're just trying to slow it down. You think that black people, people of color who have been abused for over 400 years are going to get any reprieve out of this slowing down? And if you do think they're going to get a reprieve of what? You're going to still have those who are superior in mind going to be sitting up there. You're going to still have those who operating, call themselves privileged. We're tired of this fight. It's time for victory. I'm tired of fighting. I'm giving up the fight. To hell with you. I'm going to heaven. Either here or there. Doesn't make me any difference. But I'm fed up with listening to people who don't give a stink about me. And I know you should be fed up with people who don't give a stink about you. And even if your God don't give a stink about you, you should be fed up with that. Because as I see it, your God loves you. And others are abusing you. But you don't know about your God. And so you take it as a slave. This is the day of the awakening, ladies and gentlemen. Stand up and live. Stand up and live. Now, I've been speaking for 40 years. So the 20 years since the time I ran for president, which was probably more than that, I've been constantly speaking. So if you want to know what the message that I've been given to share with you, check out. They're on YouTube and Facebook. And I've got this week, I've talked about the churches, I've talked about the government, I've cursed you out. I ain't cursed you out, I don't know about cursing, but I cussed you out. I mean, you see USS, I cussed you out. And then I try to make love to you. Try to, rather than take the belt to you, send you to the corner. And then send you to the corner, that's taking us down the hill. So I just want, I've been through the belt beatings, see my hair? Been through the belt beatings, I've seen all of that. I've been seeing the corners. I've seen all of that. So it gives me the authority. It gives me the elderism to be able to stand before you and speak to you as an elder. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you this cup full and see what you're going to do with it. So take care.